Well, happy Tuesday, March 17th in the USA, where everybody gets to be Irish for that day. Happy St. Patty's Day. Hopefully, you guys get out, have a little bit of fun, enjoy the day. And we're not going to take too much time today. I have a couple of things, and as you may have noticed in my little promotional email, is that BYOT. And when I wrote that, I didn't realize that might be appropriate for the day, but bring your own green beer might be another one. But anyway, let's talk first about kind of a pain in the butt, but I think it's, again, as we get more and more experience dealing with the settlement, everybody knows what I mean by that, then we need to look at what is our experience. One of those experiences is agents and brokers going, I need you to sign this. And they're talking about compensation. So we know as a company, our policy is that we will not sign anything guaranteeing compensation. So as a broker, agent, we don't sign stating that we will pay compensation. Okay. Well, one thing that is fairly common is where they're going to ask us to have a seller sign an agreement. And what you may see is something very similar to this. This one happens to be from EXP. And what I want to let you know is, as long as this has been completed correctly, I don't see any issue in us having our sellers sign this. So this is a clarification for us, because with this particular one, it is not us signing it in guaranteeing compensation. It is the seller signing it in guaranteeing compensation. Okay. I think it's always read through these, make sure that it's not going to commit the seller to pay compensation when compensation is not earned. This particular one does that. It says upon closing, and that's the only time it does cover them, that if it's extended, well, it's in many cases better than a simple where somebody writes in that seller is to pay buyer broker compensation of 3%. One of the first things that come up is 3% of what? Okay. That's a concern. People can get really stupid on us. I don't want to be one of those. So it would even have to say 3% of the purchase price. So as you read through this, I just want you to know it's an EXP one. They're pretty persistent. Even if you make a counter offer, and this is one where one of our agents brought this to me, it was a need for a counter offer where they had written it into the additional conditions of the purchase agreement. It works. Okay. There's nothing wrong with us having our seller sign it, but again, this is not us signing it. Matter of fact, I would not sign it. You'll see that it may ask, no, in this case, it's just for EXP. There's no need for us to sign. Okay. Any questions about this one? All right. Well, let's do this. I want to then bring up the aspect of FinCEN. which is we know is short for the Financial Crime Enforcement Network. Otherwise, what the government did was to say, we have it covered pretty well when everything's financed through typical means, conventional financing, rural development, anything that is a federally backed loan, which is pretty much everything. They had it covered because the bank is responsible, the lender is responsible to track where the money's coming from down to a human being. We never have quite recognized that. And it was interesting. I was talking with a mortgage originator yesterday who didn't quite understand that that was really what was going on. He's the originator, not the processor, not understanding it. That's what they've been doing. And when I've been able to explain to him what FinCEN was, he kind of got it. It made sense because somebody in cash transactions or non-traditional has to track back where's the money coming from to where it comes to a human being. Okay? So, if you will, then, FinCEN is dealing with cash offers being purchased by a non living entity, corporation, LLC, something of that nature. That's the trigger to kick in what FinCEN is all about. So, we're now 16 and a half days in, and who's had a problem with it? Anybody? So, I know it's only 16 and a half days, but it is what I expected it to be, which is next to nothing. Now, I know, Jeff, are you on? Mr. Livonia? I was talking with Jeff earlier. Jeff Leach is our branch manager for the Livonia office, and he was talking with the Title One people. There you are. Hey, Jeff, can you go ahead and share what you did earlier regarding Title One's experience with FinCEN? I see him there. Jeff Leach. Does that mean you're looking for it? You're
This
on
is
you're on mute,
Sandra.
bud.
I
There
Um,
you go.
sent an email to my investor clients when it was in including just a little blurb of why it's being done and also the announcement attachment. So that way it's not a surprise for them.
I like that idea. Jeff, are you there?
I'm finally here. Yeah.
There you go. You want to share what you had that conversation with Title One?
The conversation I had with Title One about FinCEN.
Yeah,
So they said that they've had, I think, four closings now that were FinCEN closings, and the paperwork is done. It was paid for, and they had absolutely no issues. No issues at all.
yeah. So, guys, this is what I want to pull out because it's kind of what I expected in my conversations with our title partner, Title One. Um, we had ATA national title on. They'd been working with it in basic concept because of their Chicago branch and what Illinois was already into. Um, it's just not been a big issue. So, what I wanted to point out to you is that this is what we're experiencing, and kind of what Sandra, what you just brought up. Let me share with you what we have courtesy of Michigan Realtors, which is a simple notice that they do. So this is in Real Comp So I'm going to assume that one, it obviously would be in SkySlope, but I assume it would be in Transaction Desk and probably most forms libraries, as it is the Michigan Realtors. And here's all it says. Effective March 1st, closing agents are required to file a report with the federal government for any residential real estate transaction that does not involve a traditional mortgage loan from an institutional lender and the buyer is a legal entity or trust. Okay. This will include all cash deals and sales that are privately financed or seller financed. The rule was enacted by the Bureau to combat money laundering. So here, this is the reason this is being done. Although the reporting requirement is triggered by the type of buyer, for example, in all cash buyer who is limited liability company, the government filing, if required, includes information about both the buyer and the seller, including addresses, birthdays, and social securities. If a FinCEN filing is required, both buyer and seller will need to provide the closing agent with the necessary information and complete the required report. The closing agent, typically the title company, is responsible for collecting the information and submitting the report. This brief overview of the new filing requirements and is not intended as legal advice. For more information, check out this. So, as a company, we took a look at everything and said, we don't think it's going to be a big issue. Obviously, what we need to do as agents is the same thing that we do with any transaction, which is to oversee that transaction. Make sure that all parties are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And although it's been a week and a half, there's been no issues. And not only on our part, but again, working with and talking with the title companies. It just hasn't been the big deal that we might have been overly concerned with. So, if you feel it's necessary, pull this into your transaction and have that discussion with people. I think that's probably a good thing. And most of it being, we need to be aware of what's going to trigger the FinCEN. And if we have that, if we feel necessary, you can address it, but keep it simple, salespeople. Okay? When they say trust, does this mean a family trust? I think that could be any trust, Roger. Again, this, I put it a non-living entity. As this puts it, a legal entity or trust. So, non-living entity. I think is the simplest way that I've learned to put it. But again, I'm not an attorney.
Thank you.
All right, you bet. You bet. Any other questions about this one, guys?
Yes, Darwin, I have a question. Hi, how are you?
Very good, Sherry.
It didn't change over. I don't know why, but it's been like that forever. Whenever I'm in any Zoom meeting, including yours, I come up as
Oh,
Sherry Curry, but this is Brenda Davis. How was this handled, Darwin, in a situation? I have a very close friend who is in the process of selling a property via a quit claim deed. No realtors involved. How, and it's going to be cash. Who's responsible for having this document completed? Does that fall on the seller or the buyer?
it is always going to be on, well, are you saying this document or
This document.
FinCEN?
FinCEN.
FinCEN is always going to take it down to basically the settlement company. That's like the first four or five things. And when you get down to the last one, where it's not the settlement company slash title company,
Mhm.
it would be who prepped the deed, who completed the deed. Whoever prepared that deed would be the last person in the chain who would have to complete that.
Okay.
So if the seller actually just got to the point there's no title insurance, no settlement agency involved,
Mhm.
the title company, or excuse me, the individual who prepared the deed, if that was the seller,
Mhm.
would be responsible for all the things necessary to live up to the terms of FinCEN. On the
Okay.
other hand, if the buyer prepared it, it could be the buyer.
Okay.
It is one where, let's see. So, and guys, just to make sure everybody's got this, what Brenda's given is a scenario which could happen. But again, remember, we're not attorneys and we cannot provide financial, or excuse me, we cannot provide legal advice. So if someone was paying someone cash and that person was willing to accept a quit claim deed, wow, cash quit claim, that's certainly the question is did they put it into an LLC? Is the purchaser who has the cash, is it going into a legal entity or a trust?
No.
Then FinCEN would not apply.
Okay. It's kind of an unusual situation here.
Yeah.
Apparently, the seller purchased a property on behalf of this who is now the buyer years
Ah,
ago. Purchased the property for like 65 grand. She took out the mortgage for the purchase of the property, paid the taxes and insurance. The now buyer paid her whatever the amount of the mortgage was, the mortgage payment. And so now the house is paid off. The now buyer, previously, if you want to consider him a renter, wants to buy it, and the seller wants to sell it. So they're going by way of quit claim deed,
wow.
and this is going to be a cash transaction. But the amount is not what she paid for it. She's asking
Right.
20 grand.
Yeah, which would be fine. It's the I think everybody knows and Brenda knows a quit claim deed is not the best way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's only going, whatever I may own, you can have. It's not the proper thing for the buyer. And frankly, again, we're not attorneys.
Right.
But my question would be is, why are you accepting or why are you giving a quit claim deed versus a warranty deed? And then the other is this. Is everything being handled to where there's going to be a release of the lien from the mortgage
Yes, she does
discharge?
have that. The mortgage was paid off in 2018, I think, and she does
Yeah.
have a release.
Is the
So,
discharge there?
yes.
So they've run title.
She personally, no, but she does have a discharge from the lender.
Has it been recorded?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's just that, it's a great conversation because as we talk, bring your own topic. So this is what Brenda's brought for us. Um, it's an interesting one to where we've got to remember we cannot provide legal advice,
Right.
but we can certainly ask enough questions to get people to think about what they're willing to do in a scenario like this. And those questions, I didn't ask any advice. I didn't give any advice. Let me put it that way. But I've
Right.
asked questions that got them going,
Mhm.
maybe I should do this a different way.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a great one, Brenda. Thank you for that one.
thank you.
I got one other guy on here that, yeah, Joe, I'm going to pick on you, guy. Um, so one of our newest um, started with us in January, started about the middle of the BDS, is going through it, a second round here, and is having a lot of success. And so, you guys have heard me talking about there's only two ways to be able to get business. One is going after the business, being active, and the other is going actively passive. I'm doing the things necessary to get people to come to me. So I'm either going after it, I'm going to the people, or I'm going to do the things that will get people to come to me. Joe, I just share what you're doing. One, how, I guess just give that basic story. I want everybody to be able to share and realize the success you can have simply by open houses?
Well, first things first, I love open houses. I like that human to human interaction rather than phone calls. Um, Prior to being an agent, I actually worked in floral sales, and then prior to that, I was a tourist, or sorry, a tour guide at Wayne State. So talking to people is my forte. Um, so at the open houses, I like to just kind of introduce myself once they walk in, give them a little spiel, and then let them walk around, kind of give them their space. And then before they leave, kind of give those touch bases like, oh, any questions? What did you guys like about the home? How long are you guys looking today? Those kinds of things. Um, so when I joined back in January, there were some listings that were available. So I did 4 open houses in one weekend, and I had these buyers come through. Mind you, this was the weekend in January where we had that horrible blizzard. And so I was nervous to go do my open houses that day, but I pushed through,
Four of
hope,
them.
hoping that something would come. And luckily, somebody did. She came at the last second. I was packing up actually, and she went through the house really quick, and then it was kind of like a quick little conversation of like, oh, like how long have you guys been looking? Like, are you looking in this area? And she's like, yeah, definitely. I was like, well, I'd be happy to like talk with you guys about it. There are off-market opportunities. I'd be able to give you the know about any coming soons as well. And surprisingly, she called me a couple days later and was like, hey, we actually want to meet with you. Um, so her and her husband came in, we talked, and we had a great conversation. And then they decided to use me as their realtor, knowing that they would be my first. This past weekend, we actually finally went under contract with their home in Troy, and we have the inspection in about an hour and a half. So, um,
And was that your listing too?
no, it was not. It was Karen Greenwood's listing. Um,
How many
so
contracts have you gotten? I
from
mean,
open houses
buyer, yeah, from open houses, how many buyers and sellers have you gotten?
since January 4.
So four buyers
Four
contracts
buyers and one listing.
from doing open houses.
Yes.
Um, and so not just the one that you just told us about that now is under contract,
Hmm.
but what else did you get?
This past, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, I did an open house for Sonia Smeek, and I had these buyers come through. We hit it off immediately. Lots of laughs and good conversations. And they were out open house shopping. A couple days later, I got a text from them saying, hey, we started using one agent, but unfortunately, we're not liking what they're offering to us, and it feels just like a sale, but we really liked your vibe, so we're wondering if you'd be willing to help us. And I said, absolutely. Why wouldn't I say no? Um, and this was last week. I showed them houses Friday and Sunday. And then the last home that we saw on Sunday, they fell in love with. They're like, yeah, this is the one we want to write an offer, Joe. So it's like, awesome. So we wrote an offer and we got accepted yesterday. So that's 2 in 1 weekend just from open house people.
So, I wanted Joe to be able to share this because think of it. He started with us. He started at a previous company, and then he realized I made a big mistake. He came on board with us. As you can see, he's with our Coldwell Banker office in Birmingham. Really grasp hold of the aspect of let me be actively passive. He and I know that's exactly where he's at. He loves doing the open houses, but I just want you to think if he just stayed on the same pace, he'd have 8 closings this year just off of working open houses. But here's what we know. He's got a whole lot of people that he's still following up with. It's not going to be 8 closings off of open house generation. It'll probably be more like 10 or 12 just off of doing open houses. So I thought that was a great one to be able to pull out. Joe, thank you for sharing. Is there anything else you'd want to add?
I mean, when I'm doing these open houses, I'm also like going super hard on social media. So I like to go out to these listings and shoot a video, promote it on Instagram and TikTok. And I've actually gotten people from that as well without them even showing up to the open house. They've just reached out because they like the videos and they like the content that I'm producing for them. So,
So they're actually able to go online and see your online reputation.
yes.
Brings justification to the guy that they actually met. So there's good stuff out there, guys. It's just, man, pick your route and run it, run in that direction. I'll tell you what, I'm showing 1226. Anybody else got a topic they want to bring up, or I should say, who else has a topic they'd want to bring up?
Darren, I have a quick question.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
new to Coldwell Banker too, and since I got my email from Coldwell Banker, it's been I think two uh, fraud emails that I got where people say, "Hey, we're looking to move into your area. Just send us a listing uh, that you have." And then I responded and I said, "Okay, what's your name? Where are you coming from? What is, start asking these questions." And they wanted to schedule a call on on Google.
Are you seeing everybody's heads nodding, Roger?
Yeah, that's what I
It's
figured. I
either
mean, I've
yes,
been
I
I've been
got it,
in,
or
I've
no,
been
don't
in
go there.
sales for a long, long time in a different setup. So I figured that was where. Is this like typical? You get how many of those do you get per week?
Um, I think, hard to say. Let's say I'm sure all of us have gotten them.
Since I've joined
Uh,
Coldwell, I've gotten about four of them.
yeah.
And
It-
usually I just say, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable with you scheduling it. I can send you the link." And then they don't respond.
Yeah.
You'll see that they're persistent in wanting to do a Zoom call or, this, that, but they don't answer. And the reason I believe is because it's AI.
Okay.
It's AI. So you won't get information because of that. So there's lots of scam phishing where they're just trying to be able to pull your information. And it's normally when there's a link. One of the best ways is to be able to click. Well, here, one, did it come directly to you or was it a BCC?
Ah,
If it was a BCC, that went to a boatload of people.
okay.
Um, do a right click on the email. And again, it's not the answer to all. It could come from a Gmail, but you'll see some weird looking email address that it's actually from. So those are two ways of being able to tell whether or not it's garbage. But just be wary of anything that is too easy.
Oh,
That's the best way to put it. But ask questions and see whether or not you get anybody who's actually providing you with real information on the return or the response to your question. So that's a great one, Roger.
thanks.
Absolutely. Anybody else? I don't want to cut anything off just because it's 12:30.
Hey, Darwin.
Yeah, go ahead, Don.
For us dual career folks, the business development, of course, sounds really great. Any chance of some version of that being available in the evening or? You
All
can
right,
think
you
about it.
guys
You don't
always
have to
create
answer
create
now.
frankness, and the answer is no. We've discussed it many times, and the answer is no. We haven't got anything like that. I will tell you that for those familiar, if you've ever heard of our boot camp or Top Gun, that's one where I would say we're going to let you know far enough in advance to where you can take a day or two or three off. We're going to look at what we've done before because we know that that needs to be done. And it would be a live one. probably centrally located, or we may do a couple of them so that, I'll put it that it would be within a 1 hour drive for everyone. And then you just take that time off to be able to get but it'd probably be just buyers, just sellers. One I'm sure would be just a 1 day, like the buyer would be a 1 day buyer boot camp, and it's going to come fast and furious. And the listing boot camp would probably be a 2, maybe 3 day. But yeah,
Okay.
we're just going to take a look at what we'll do so that we can get those. Miss
All right.
Lori?
Yeah, I was just gonna share with Don, I've got a gal out here as well that's in the same situation. She has a full-time job. So what we've done is, as managers, we do have access to the training material. So maybe you can sit with your manager and which was what we're doing with Lizzie. I can't do it anywhere near as good as what Darwin and his group is doing, that's for sure. And I've already apologized to Lizzie for that. I wish she could do it firsthand like the rest of you are doing it. But in the meantime, she gets stuck with me or slash your manager, and see what we can do in the meantime until you do have an opportunity to get belly to belly with Darwin.
And Don, you got my little counterpart there named Alex, right?
Yeah. Oh
Listen,
yeah.
I he's a mini me with a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Uh, well, yeah, I got all the experience, and I look. He's me. Me is he. So work with that guy. You're all blessed, and but yeah. Matter of fact, for those who don't know, Alex and I actually shared the March 19th birthday.
Ah.
Yeah, so we're pretty tight, and he's just awesome anyway. But um,
And congratulations to you, Don, for being someone who's pushing for that training. You're the kind of agents that we like to hire, the ones that are seeking the education and seeking the right way to do things. So, kudos to you for reaching out for that.
Thanks, Lori.
and being here, man, being here. It's one of the
Yeah, for
reasons I
sure.
did it as dual career because we all got to eat. Hopefully, we get time off for lunch, right? So yeah, you're spot on with that. Spot on. So look for that to be coming out with the announcements. I that should be happening either May, June at the latest would be my thought. Okay,
Great. Thank you.
you got it. Anybody else got anything? Well, as always, send me your thoughts. It's always great. I get questions. Hey, what about? Could I? Would I? Should I? Those are where I'm able to find out what's really going on in the market. What do we need to address? What's hot? I will let you know that next week I have, where's my note? So next week, the 24th, we are going to have someone coming in. And if you've ever heard of the, oh, what do I want to call it? Rehabilitation loans. Let me make sure I've got the right one I'm talking about here. It should be next week. I'm take a quick look. Yes. So we'll call it the renovation purchase with the rehabilitation loan. There are probably going to be growing opportunities under which homes will be available because they're not selling that boom that quick. And people want to still get the most for the money, most money for the home. Buyers are available and they have means by using these rehabilitation loans. So we've got a couple of experts that my friend Steve out of Shelby location has brought to us. So that's what next week's topic is going to be on. With that, wear yourself proudly. Go enjoy the Irish holiday. And oh, by the way, Paddy's. If you don't use St. Patrick's and you're going St. Paddy, it's a DD, not a TT. There's a difference. Everybody will know you're not Irish if you say Patties. Have a great week, you guys. We'll see ya. Go talk to people.